Okay. Welcome. Welcome, all traders. If you ended up watching this video, it's because you are seeking help using the Polarity ATI by Futures Analytica. Uh, the Polarity ATI is a tool, not a system, to help you get in and out of the market. With that being said, I think it's a very good tool. And we're going to go over some charts in a minute. And there is a couple of indicators that this guy gave away that I think is worth more than the Polarity ATI, personally speaking. The Polarity ATI I saw on one particular channel got a lot of negative reviews, but something you guys have to understand. This is not a red light, green light type of tool. You have to understand order flow. I have been studying order flow for the past 4 or 5 years. And the footprint you see in front of you is Mike Valtos OrderFlow. Very good footprint. Very good order flow footprint. This particular order flow footprint, I would recommend to anybody. Don't get paid for referring people to him. I have just used quite a few footprints, and this is the footprint I decided to settle on. The footprint that Futures Analytica uses, you have to be a little bit more advanced to understand why that guy, I cannot think of his name, the one who runs Futures Analytica, is getting in and out of the market. It's not that Polarity ATI does not work. He understands looking at the delta, looking at the max delta, looking at the min delta, the volume, stacked imbalances, inverse stack imbalances. He's looking at tons of information that makes him hit that button that makes him arm and disarm that particular tool at any given time. He understands what he's doing. I think he's not getting the point across like he wants. With that being said, there are two indicators that he's given away for free on his website. Let me show you what indicators those are. Let's go into this. The indicators are the analytical wave 2 and reversing strength zones. Okay? Now, those two indicators that he's given away, it's like an overbought and oversold bands. It almost reminds me of the Bollinger Bands. The analytical wave, which you see below, has overbought and oversold zones also, but it has a crossover of two moving averages. Okay? And, I've been looking at order flow for a while. And I started using these tools, maybe 2-3 days ago with my order flow. And I've been using the Mike Valtos order flow for about a year now. Before that, I had a couple of other order flow programs that it didn't click on me like Mike Valtos order flow did. But anyway, first of all, let's get into these tools here, and then we'll get into why it's important to really understand order flow, because order flow is not a red light, green light type of thing. You're paying attention to several indicators at one time. And I'm not just talking about the overbought, oversold bands here. I'm not talking about the trading bands here. Let's get into this order flow here, because this order flow right here, if you're looking at this footprint, this is a footprint of Mike Valtos' footprint. And if you go back and watch his videos, this footprint, he brings out ratio. And the ratio is based on defense, price defense, or price exhaustion. That's how you tell when price is defending or price is exhausted. Okay. He also brings out imbalances. A box comes around a bar when there's several imbalances in a bar. Okay. He brings out market weakness or strength to the upside, market weakness or strength to the downside. He has what you call stopping volume. See those pointer controls right there? They turn different colors when there's a particular amount of volume at a particular price. Okay? He has another pattern called the slingshot, which is right there. What else do we have here? What else do we have here? He has, and all of this is on Valtos order flows. And if you guys are familiar with Valtos order flows, do not give up. You have to understand exactly what is going on. And if you purchase his order flow, he has several videos on what to look for, what not to look for. That's a tail. That's dealing with single prints up there. That's what you call a tail. That's what you call a slingshot. Okay. He has imbalance zones that pop up. He is flagging and telling you several ways of looking at order flow. Now, with that being said, let's get back to the indicators, the polarity indicators, or the polarity ATI indicators, or the indicators that he's given away from Futures Analytica on his website. The way I am using this, or the way I started using this, it's only several days old, and I'm going to trade it demo. I'm going to trade demo with this, but from what I've seen over the past 2 days, today is the 24th. So you say right around the 22nd, maybe the 21st, I put these indicators on my chart. And I am seeing more ways of using Mike Valtos' footprint with his indicators. Okay? Order flow is not something that you're going to get in a day or 2 days. If you guys think that you're going to understand this in a day or two and you're going to cut the ATM machine on, you're sadly mistaken. Okay? Get that out the way, because I don't think you guys understand this guy's from Future Analytica, what this guy is really analyzing. And he makes it look easy, but practice makes perfect. And you don't, and like he said, you don't have to use his footprint. This footprint that you see in front of you, Mike Valtos, it brings out more things or more indicators and flags, more bars than you can shake a stick at. So you'll have a better understanding of exactly what's going on. Let's look at this. And I loaded up 15 days. I decided to go back and load up 15 days of data. So I could, and this is my first time walking through this. I haven't even looked at the chart yet, but just from what I've seen over the past couple of days, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and record and load up so I can see, and basically some of you guys that's not getting this order flow understand what I am seeing and how it coincides with these two indicators that I'm looking at here. Okay, let's get it going. Market, and I'm on East Coast time. Okay, so let's go back to 9:30. Let's go back to 9:30. The two dotted lines you see are the highs and lows of the day. It's just part of my template. And which the chart you're looking at is the E-mini. This is a 10 range E-mini. This is just a 10 range. I think Polarity ATI, that guy uses a 15 range on E-mini. But I'm just walking through some samples here. Nothing is etched in stone here. Nothing is etched in stone here. So if we're using these two bands, we got a overbought, and we have an oversold band. At the bottom, he has something, or I have something. I downloaded it from Analytica website, and this particular indicator is a wave. It tells you when is a good time to sell, or this is how I'm interpreting it. When is a good time to sell, and when is a good time to buy. It also has overbought and oversold zones. That's overbought, oversold. Overbought, oversold. Okay? Now, the way I'm interpreting this is when it's in between these two bands, it's in a range. Okay? It's in a range. And a lot of order flow, from the way I'm interpreting it, is it's what you see. If you see a pattern in order flow, and that pattern seems to be pretty consistent, then you're selling or you're buying. Everybody sees something different. Everybody sees something different. But I cannot think of this guy's name that is on Futures Analytica. This guy is looking at several things, even though he's looking at order flow. He's looking at, look at this right here. This is what I have, or what I'm looking at when I'm looking at Mike Valtos' footprint. I'm looking at the delta. I'm looking at the max delta. I'm looking at the min delta. I'm looking at the volume. Okay? I am also looking at that when I am seeing ratios, double top ratios, or ratios every time it gets to a point of resistance or a point of support. There is no ratios down here, but there are several ratios up here hitting this resistance line. Okay? With that being said, let's go to this. We have, and the market doesn't open till 9:30, but it's obvious right now that just short term, there is a point of resistance up here. Notice every time it hits resistance, and this goes back to 8:54. So you're talking about a half hour before the market opens. Gets up here. Boom. We get the first ratio. Not only do we get a ratio up here, notice we're hitting the overbought line. Also, we're getting, let's bring this up. We're also getting a imbalance box, which is right here. Okay? That imbalance box is alerting you to, hey, there are imbalances going on here, there's selling going on here, and there's stacked imbalances here. So we get up here close to, looks like a price of 39.65. Every time it gets up here to 39.65, boom, we got a ratio right here. And that ratio is, I want to say, defense. Let's see, because Mike Valtos has two numbers on ratio. And I'm going to explain to you what those ratios mean right now. Anything above 30 or anything that has a whole number is price exhaustion. Okay? This is what I'm discussing right here. 30 is price exhaustion. Anything that says 0.69 and it's blue is price defense. Ratio bounds high, ratio bounds low. Okay, that's how his ratios pop up. And you can adjust these numbers to anything you want. I leave them at default. I don't mess around with these default numbers. I did notice in Futures Analytica, do you know what he settled on? He settled, if I'm not mistaken, I saw a setting where he said 0.70 was good for the E-mini. And look where Mike Valtos is. 0.69 for ratio. Price defense. He's only using price defense, but Mike Valtos has exhaustion also. That's a plus for Mike Valtos. Okay? With that being said, let's go back to, we got a ratio up here. Let's put an arrow up here. We got a ratio right there. Okay? You got a ratio right here, and you can glance down and see the delta. So you want to glance down and see the delta. And this is what this guy at Futures Analytica is doing. He's glancing down at those deltas or those percentage changes in those deltas real quick. And I don't think he's emphasizing that enough because he's making it look easy, but order flow is by all means not easy. So you can see there's a change in the delta. We got a delta divergence here. It's a minus 472. And then the ratio gives a little bit back on the delta, but the ratio is now 0.52, which is blue. And we're looking at minus 440. So even though the delta is eased up a little bit, you got price defense here, or price exhaustion. I don't know why I keep getting that confused, but you have a price exhaustion here. Let me go back and look at that again. I don't know why I keep getting that confused. But you see more of one than the other. You see more of one than the other. Here it is. Okay. So 0.69 is price defense. Exhaustion is whole numbers. So let's go back and look at those numbers. Okay. We got a right here. That's price defense because we got 0.52. Anything with a point in it is defense. Anything that's whole number is exhaustion. So not only do we have defense and exhaustion going on, it's topping. I can look at a chart. When I'm day trading, I can look at a chart and say, man, we got problems up here because it keeps getting to a point and it's starting to roll over. Look at your wave. Your wave, it's in the middle of the range, but it's above the zero line. It's above the zero line. Matter of fact, let me make this a little bit more heavier. Make this a little bit, make that wave a little bit more heavier so it can be seen by you guys. And I'm not used to doing trading videos. I just thought that you guys are coming down a little too hard on this guy, but he knows what he's seeing. He knows what he's looking for. And I don't think he's getting the point across real well to you guys. But like I said, order flow, it's no joke. And it's not something you're going to grasp in a week or two. This takes time. This takes study. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on the ATI Polarity because he knows exactly what he wants to see. Okay? So back up here again, we got ratio here. And we're almost at, and if you can look and tell, we're almost at overboard here. It's hitting this line, and notice it finds a price of resistance right here, right around 39.65. This is a 10 range E-mini chart. We got ratio here. We got ratio here. It's topping here. It's topping here. Okay. Now you get a crossover. There's a crossover right here. It's topping here, but look at your delta. Minus 543, minus 434, minus 274. Delta's easing up a little bit. Okay? Then you got plus 239, minus 3, what is that? Minus 384. Okay, it's easing up. And then it really goes into a spiral. It hits this price again. A lot of buyers got trapped up here. 216. And it sells off. Minus 160, minus 117. Boom, minus 274. Right here, you got a crossover. Okay? Now, you could have sold it right here, but your stop would have had to have been right above that right there. If you'd have put your stop up there, you would have never gotten hit. Okay? Okay, so you get up here, and not only that, here's another benefit of Mike Valtos' footprint. You got stopping action right here. When that POC, point of control, changes colors In the top 3 tiers, I call it the tiers, but the top 3 tiers or the bottom 3 tiers, and it changes a different color. There's a color. There's a color. You have what you call stopping action or stopping volume. Mike Valtos does a video on that. I am not an order flow expert. I'm just seeing what I want to see. And it's something that I am learning as I'm going along. So you got stopping action here, stopping action here. But here is another benefit. You didn't get a ratio, a blue ratio, but you got stopping action up there, which is another red flag. Stopping action, 2 ratios before that, another red flag. Okay? After that, you catch, down there, you catch a crossover. You catch a crossover. So even if you'd have sold here, here's another chance to get in right here. I would have been looking to go short somewhere around the open. Okay? We're at the top of these bands. Overbought, bang. And if you notice, let's look at this. You got a lower high. You got a lower high here. Pay attention to your market structure. Okay? Also, here's another key factor that I look at. Those buyers dried up. 45 compared to 216. You got 216 buyers right here, but now this turns around and goes down and a lower high, and now you only have 45 buyers. Understand what you're looking at in order flow. If you're going to trade order flow, you have to learn all of the ins and outs before you can say something doesn't work. Let's continue to walk forward. Let's continue to walk forward on this. Like I said, this would have been a major failure. I just said, oh man, look at, we only got 45 buyers now. They're losing faith. Not only that, this is crossed. This moving average crossover down here has crossed below the 0 line. This is, if you didn't catch it up here, I'll be looking right here. Okay? Then, let's continue on. You got an imbalance box with price exhaustion up here at 60.5. There's your chance to get in again right here with your stop right here at 60.5. Even if you'd have got in at 57.25, your stop at 60.5, you would have made some ticks on that. You got 2 ratios back to back. Ratio here with a single print, I might add. Ratio here with a single print and imbalance box. You have to get into Mike Valtos' footprint. You're not going to see everything on a regular footprint that doesn't have all the bells and whistles like Mike Valtos. Okay? Even though you're getting in, that would have been a red flag for me, and I probably would have been getting in somewhere in this bar, which is me and my friend, we always discuss you're late to the party. Yes, you are a little late to the party because the selling was up here when it kept hitting this point of resistance. Okay? Once you got a lower high, Even worst case scenario, let's say 2 ticks, 1, 2. Let's say you got in somewhere around here at 59.5. Before you got a pullback, that's 6.25 points right there on one contract. That's 6.25 points right there. And let me tell you something. Hindsight is 2020. It's hard to trade E-mini. I'm not gonna lie to you. Having the balls to just sit there and ride that wave is rough, but these two particular indicators have helped me quite a bit in deciding where I want to get in. Using these indicators is overbought, oversold. Okay? So that's one particular instance where you could have sold right after the market opened and racked in a couple of ticks. Let's move on. And you know, I've right now I have a hard time going long in the stock market just because of so much shit is going on political wise. Excuse me. That I have a hard time going long. So you very rarely, my partner very rarely sees me going long. But look at this right here. You see it's bottoming out right here. The delta is easing up. The delta started easing up right here along the bottom. You got plus 610, plus 404, which is a delta divergence. Not enough for Mike Valtos does have a delta divergence signal that pops up. This is not a delta divergence signal, but he does have one that pops up when there's a delta divergence according to the calculations that he's looking at. Okay, I'll show you some when the delta divergence does pop up. 170, 96. The sellers are easing up. Okay? Not only are the sellers easing up, you're hitting the oversold zone right here on both. Look at this. Not only are you hitting the oversold band on the chart, you're hitting the oversold zone on the Analytica wave. And it tells you when it's bullish. So right around in here, if you were looking to go long, you're getting all of your indicators that's telling you if you want to go long, if you're looking to go long, now you need to start considering going long. Okay? You got a ratio right here with stop in action. Look at this. Also, look at the sellers. The sellers are, and this is a trick I learned from Mike Valtos. You got 552 sellers right there. Let's bring this out. This is very important. 552 sellers right there. Next time that bar starts going up, the sellers are lightening up. 59. Okay? You got 99 here, but you got stop in action right there. Now all of a sudden, all you got is 4. You got stop in action. And let's get into this. This is getting interesting. That's your go signal right there. Look at that delta. It's all green except maybe this minus 96 right here. Not enough sellers to push it down. You're hitting the oversold band. You got stop in action. You got an imbalance there. Imbalance, but it's only one. Nonetheless, you got ratio there. Exhaustion. You got 31.25. It's blue. It's telling you. time to go. If you're going to take a chance, this is where you take the chance at. This is where you take the chance at right here with a stop right there below that bar. Like I said, 2020 is hindsight. It's easy to call these trades after it's all said and done. But yesterday, which was September 23rd, I was walking this through live. And I was demo trading. And I did, on the demo, not real, I had a $700 day. And I'm going to keep doing this because I definitely see something here. I definitely see something here. Let's finish walking this through. Okay. Going back up here. We have a couple of imbalances here. We didn't get a turnover yet. You're not going to catch every signal. You're not going to catch every signal. Not only that, you're minus 534. You just still got a lot of positive back there. Minus 534. Okay. You got a bearish EVA here. You got some imbalances, but you have buy imbalances also. There's something about, I haven't quite put my finger on it yet. I need to go back through some of Mike Valto's learning videos, but there's something about, you know, whenever I see selling imbalances and buying imbalances in the same bar, I'm not quite convinced that you should be making a move either way on that. Yeah, that's almost like a wait and see type of thing because they're balancing each other out, I think. Anyway, you got stop in action here. You got all selling imbalances here. This is not a sell signal for me yet. Okay. And it is meandering. Look at your analytical wave. And this indicator you can download off a futuristic Analytica website, whatever the name of that website is. Can't think of the name of the website, but it's Analytica's website, the Polarity ATI. Okay, so now we're bullish because now we have a crossover here. You have a crossover here. So I wouldn't be looking to go short or take any trades on order flow right now to the short side. Okay. Let's continue to walk forward, and it's not even 10 o'clock yet. You got to run up to the upside. Okay. Run to the upside. You see your deltas are easing up. You were minus 295 here. Now you're only minus 100, minus 117, minus 24. And now look at your delta. Plus 220. Not only is it plus 220, you have an imbalance box to the upside. Look at your sellers. You only got, what is this? One seller down here. Bar before that, you had 83. Now you only got one, and you got stacked imbalances to the upside. Okay. Just something, I'm just pointing out certain things. I'm not giving you signals. I'm not giving you a system. I am just pointing out certain things that I look out for, or that I look for when I'm looking at order flow. This is not a system. You have to do your homework on this, and it's no cakewalk. It's no cakewalk, but this is something I've noticed about these two indicators in the past couple of days. Okay, so this wave is still positive, as you can see, and price is still going up. All right. Now we can see it's way overbought. We have market weakness to the downside. Okay. We have a bearish crossover here. Bearish crossover there. Delta went from plus 130 to minus 314. Okay, but and I'm still not, even though there's a tails here, I think that's a tails signal with Mike Valtos, and you have to look it up to see what he's talking about with tails. But I don't know if I would have taken this, because usually I like to see ratios up here. I like to see a little more than just tails. Okay, so this is a run. I can definitely say I wouldn't have been selling up here, even though you have a market weakness up here. I would have liked to seen it just a little bit more. So I probably would have missed out on that run to the downside. Okay, you do have 113 buyers up here. Then it eased out down to 32, 49, 22. And look, not only did it give you, by the time it got down here at 22 buyers, and the sellers are definitely coming in. You got an imbalance box, and then you have what he calls a slingshot. This deep red bar right here is what he calls a slingshot to the downside. Slingshot to the downside. Now, I probably would have taken a chance on this, because you got an imbalance box right here, slingshot to the downside, and bearish undertone. I am not a professional trader. Let's get this straight. Do not mark my words in stone. You have much more better people out here that can analyze footprint charts. I just like analyzing Mike Valtos footprint charts, because I understand them a lot better. If you're going to buy a footprint chart, I would recommend Mike Valtos footprint chart. You can look it up. You can look it up on Valtos OrderFlow or orderflows.com. I think that's it. But let's get back to this analyzing this chart. Okay, coming down the last three bars, you got negative delta. Okay. So you had a slingshot up here at the overbought band. You're in bearish overtone. Look at that. Look at that run. Beautiful run. Slingshot. You got a zone here. You got an imbalance zone here. You got a single print here. Look at that run. Beautiful run. The point I'm trying to make is, and let's say you got in here, worst case scenario, that's 5 points. That's a 5-point run on a single contract. Okay? Point I'm trying to make is ATI, the Polarity ATI. It's a good program, but you have to understand what my man is looking at when he's calling those shots. He's looking at several things. His footprint that he's recommended might not bring out everything that you want to see. That's why I use Mike Valtos' footprint. Okay? Bring out a couple more examples before I come. And you don't have to hit the like button. You don't have to hit the subscribe button. Not on this channel, because I doubt very seriously if I do quite a few videos trading E-mini, because I am still in the learning process myself. But I just thought this was something that I needed to bring out, and how you use order flow with Analytica's indicators. Just something you might want to think about. So, if you're getting negative uh, I've seen a lot of people say, yeah, I bought it and I'm getting nothing but negative results. You're getting negative results because you didn't do your homework. You're getting negative results because order flow is not something you learn in a week or two. You have to pay attention to market structure. You have to be looking at the delta, the max delta, the min delta, the volume. All this stuff comes into play. And it took me a minute. And when I say a minute, in the twilight zone, a minute might be a couple of years to really understand what's going on here when you're looking at order flow. Now, if you can get it in a week, good for you. Good for you. But everything comes into play here. What's the trend? What's the market structure? You know, is the delta going down? Is the delta going up? Max delta, min delta. All this stuff comes into play. And then when you got this this wave right here, I'm impressed with this wave because now it's helping me see what I need to see. Okay? Now it's helping me see what I need to see. I don't see nothing here. And you can tell when something is topping out. Look at this. Boom. Top. And it started making resistance right here. Look at this stopping action right here. With the ratio to the downside. Stopping action. Stopping action with ratio. Look at that stopping action right there. This is these are the kind of things that you have to pay attention to when you're day trading the E-mini. It's no cakewalk. And I am not going to say that Polarity ATI does not work. I am going to say you have to do your homework. Look at this. You got stopping action. You got a ratio. It's hitting that overbought. It can't seem to get the resistance seems to be somewhere around 70.5 down to 69.75 or 69.75 up to 70.5. And then it starts to sell off. You got a crossover. It's gone bearish right here on this bar. So on this bar right here, you got stopping action, you got ratio, you got stopping action with imbalances here. Guess what, fellas? That's your go bar. That's your go. You could have waited for that bar to finish. That's your go. Your stop is going to be somewhere above here or up here. Okay? Look at that fall off. Look at that fall off. Real nice. Real nice. Okay? So this is just a video to tag some of the instances I see with the overbought, oversold bands and the analytical wave indicator that they release for free, which is worth more than a Polarity ATI if you learn how to use them and you have the right footprint. Let's go back to yesterday. Let me look at yesterday's for a minute just to see something, because there were a couple of trades I took yesterday in the demo account. And they were beautiful trades. And I'm like, look at this thing. And every time I waited, this is about being patient. This is about waiting. Market opens up at 9:30. Of course, you have to remember what your bias is at the time that you're taking trades. I just know I was looking to go short yesterday. The trades I took yesterday, I was looking to go short yesterday. And I was able to scalp quite a few ticks out of the market yesterday. Let's see something here. Okay, can't bring them up real quick, but let's look at this. Market opens up, we're in bearish. Got a bearish tone now. Overbought or oversold. Gets down here, gets oversold. Okay. We are starting to flatten out here. We have a pullback. And one thing I always say, I try to, you know, I might, if I'm looking to pull a short trade here, I might look here and say where there's some meat on the bone down to the zone. Okay, when I say meat on the bone, I mean, is there enough room? Even though you got a bearish cross here, is there enough room to the downside before it hits the zone? Can you take something out? And yes, as you can see, there was some meat on the bone because that pullback, it starts to run down. If I'm not mistaken, a report came out at 9:45 yesterday. So even though you got a market weakness up here, you got an imbalance box right here with a crossover, a bearish, and you got set minus 709, minus 384, minus 412. There was some meat on the bone. You could have scalped a few ticks out of there before it got down there to that zone. Now you're in wait mode. Look at that. Look at this zone down here. Definitely oversold. It's in that zone. And look, got a bullish cross right there. Got stop in action right there, which is not enough to make me move or go long at all. Just thought certain things I bring out. Certain things you have to look at when you're looking at the footprint chart. Okay, let's go back and look at this because I see the sell signals coming up. Look at this. You got 23 buyers here, but when you go back, look at this, is that a double top? 113 here versus 23 right there, but hasn't crossed yet. Hasn't crossed yet, but Mike gets into that in one of his videos. That's a possible sell. But I would have looked and I would have been saying, the delta's really not enough to make me jump in on that yet. Okay. Let's see. This is fast market. I remember that. That's when the report came out. You wouldn't have caught none of that. Fast market. You wouldn't have caught none of that. Wait till the market cools down a little bit. Look at this. If you were looking to go long, imbalance and slingshot to the upside. Two imbalanced boxes back to back. Got a ratio right here to the upside with a green arrow. All this is fast market, but nonetheless, it was printing out. Got your crossover right here on this bar. Then you got a slingshot on this bar. And look what it did. To the moon, Alice. To the moon. Okay. All right, I consider this middle of the range. I'm not looking to take no trades in the middle of a range, especially when you're confused, sit on your hands. There's another bus coming along. Don't feel you have to catch each and every trade that comes along. Okay? You got the tails here. which is basically telling you heads up. Look at this right here. $11 buyers compared to 30 buyers. Low or high. Okay. Then you got bearish right there. Plenty of meat on the bone to the downside. Imbalance. Single print. It's gone. Got another imbalance right there. It's gone. Quite a few ticks between these two imbalance boxes and down to the oversold zone down here. Do your studies, because you're going to get times when it goes through that oversold zone or through that overbought zone. But your order flow is going to be basically giving you a heads up. If you're paying attention to the deltas and all that other stuff, it's going to be giving you a heads up as to when is a good time to get in. This is making new low. That dotted line you see, those are the lows of the day. It's making new lows of the day right there. Okay, you got a bullet. If you're looking to go long, which I definitely wouldn't have been looking to go long. I was bearish all day yesterday on the E-mini market. I think it ended up falling at some point. It was down 500, 600 points. So I wouldn't have been looking to take no long trades at all. My bias was definitely down. Okay. So I'm looking for a heads up as to when to go short. Okay. Got ratios here. Making new lows as we go along, and we're hitting the buy zone here. We're hitting the buy zone here. So right now the sellers are fizzing out. I would be waiting to at least get mid-range or back up there at the top. Okay. Now it's catching my attention again. This is not a system. This is just something that you might want to look at. You know, when you're trading order flow, there's just so much to look at. And I don't have it down to a T yet. But it's certain things that I like to see when I'm looking at it. Even though you got a sell signal right here, look at your positive deltas coming all the way up right here. That's a delta divergence. But we don't get a delta divergence on the order flow on this chart yet. Might have been one on a higher level, but like I said, I'm looking at a 10 range. Looking at a 10 range. Okay. It's kind of, I call this mumbo jumbo right here. It's in a range right now. It's just chopping back and forth. Chopping back and forth, chopping back and forth. I'm looking for ratios. I'm looking for imbalance boxes to the sell side. I want to see it hitting, like right here is starting to, okay, it's got issues right here. Look at this. Got 118 buyers here. Gets up here to right around the same point. You only got 20 buyers. Then you got 11 buyers. Hitting resistance. Resistance is right around 37.16. Hitting resistance. You got a slingshot here. Not enough for me to really want to make a move, but now I'm starting to pay attention now. I will be starting to pay attention now. Okay. Okay. Here you got stop in action. You got stop in volume there. Mike Valtos just released a video on that. I want to say last night, night before last. You got a single print up here. Okay. Boom. Got your crossover here. You went from plus 63 to minus 821, minus 8. It's starting to get heavy around here. Then you have a ratio. You got a ratio, you got imbalanced boxes, you got a single print, you got stop and volume. That's enough for me to make, that's the kind of stuff I look for. That's the kind of stuff I look for. There's big delta right there, big volume. I think I remember looking at this anytime. And my thing is when I see a big volume like this, and correct me if I'm wrong, some of you order flow traders out there, when I see a big volume like this, 17,000, and a delta's minus 39.46, and that bar is not moving, that's a red flag for me. I got burned on a trade like that one time. The volume was something different, something crazy. The delta was crazy, but the price is not justifying that right there. That's a red flag for me. And look what it did. Turned around, went right back up. Okay. So there are all kinds of things. The thing is, I just didn't want to I just wanted to bring out certain things that you see in trading that what is this guy's futures Analytica. This guy is looking at all kinds of things is the point I'm trying to make. And because you're not making money in it doesn't mean money can't be made. This guy is seeing something that obviously you might not be seeing or I might not be seeing. And that takes practice. It takes lots and lots of practice. And there are some people out there that's making money with this because you have to know how to walk the charts forward and go back in history and see what else you can put with it. Because everybody's not going to see the same thing in order flow. You might see a pattern that some other guys might not be seeing. But when you start putting those numbers together, you start putting this particular footprint right here, you start putting the ratios together and, oh, it's starting to roll over here. You got an imbalance box up here, you know, and the delta's starting to fall off. You can take a shot right here. You're starting, that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. And I just noticed that, hey, I mean, look at this imbalance box right here. And then you got a rollover, a bearish signal right there. You got an imbalance box up there. You got imbalances. You got stop in action. There's certain things that you might make a move on that another person might not make a move on, but you see it as consistency. So I just wanted to get that point across because I hear a lot of people, not here, but I've read a lot of things on the YouTube, on other channels about futures Analytica, the stuff doesn't work. No, do your homework. That is not a system. That is an approach. I've been in this business, trading business, since 1990. You're not going to walk into this business in the first year and make a mint. I just saw somebody on his channel a while ago, and he was talking about charting. And the first thing he said was, it took me 17 years to get to this point. If you think you're going to walk in this business and be rich 2 months later, you're in the wrong business. Do your homework. because these two indicators I see right here, worth more than the Polarity ATI. You can sit up here and pull these trades manually, and just imagine what his upgrade might be. And hopefully Futures Analytica is listening to this, because I want to be able to make adjustments with that Polarity ATI according to what I see, not just stacked imbalances, not just the ratios. Okay? Just some ideas. You guys be cool.